Hello, Nonprofit Connect members, and welcome to this month's Nonprofit Coffee Break. As a part of the Coffee Break series, we sit down with a different nonprofit professional each month to learn from their experiences and to give us a little insight into their work and into their lives. This month, we are hearing from Leslie Hernandez, a bilingual trip coordinator for Unbound. Leslie, welcome to this month's Coffee Break. Glad to have you here.
Hi, Colin. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Of course. Well, let's get started. Could you tell me a little bit about Unbound as an organization and what it is you do there?
Yeah, so Unbound is an international organization. We were founded here in Kansas City. We work hard to eliminate poverty all over the world. We partner in 19 different countries. Before the pandemic, my role was more so taking a lot of our supporters overseas to visit the areas that we work in so that they can learn about our program and meet their sponsored friends. And since the pandemic, my role has expanded from coordinating trips to also creating a vast majority of virtual experiences. So what we're working hard to do is replicate that experience that our traveler gets to live when they travel, but in a virtual setting such as Zoom or Teams.
Can I ask you to walk us through or paraphrase a small virtual trip? I mean, do you have someone on the ground with a GoPro walking around on a stick? How's that work?
No, actually, so the way that it's set up right now is we have a select group of sponsors and a select group of people that are supported, and it's actually a one-on-one experience. So if you sponsor a young lady in Costa Rica and you were selected to participate in something like this, we would set up a meeting with her. It could be through Zoom or through Teams with an interpreter, with staff, where you could really get to know her and have a short meeting with her and continue just to build that relationship that you've already established through letters, exchange of photographs, and so on.
So could you tell me a little bit about how did you get started at Unbound? You know, what was the beginning of your nonprofit career like?
So originally I thought, this is a great job where I could use my Spanish and work through school. And in my mind, it was something that was temporary. 11 years later, in July, I'm still here. I got started in our sponsored care department. And so I focused a lot on supporting our donors and our sponsors with their needs. And a year and a half after I was in sponsored care, I got the opportunity to travel on one of our trips in 2012 to Costa Rica.
Wow.
And so experiencing the dedication from our staff and, just our supporters and our families and just seeing that in person really had me kind of this like aha moment where I was thinking, what am I doing with my life? Like there's so much more out there bigger than myself and I want to do this, this is what I want to do. And so a few years later, I joined the team that I'm actually on now. And during my tenure here, I've had the chance to travel on 10 trips over, 14, 15 countries all over the world. And it's just been an amazing experience since the beginning.
Thinking about the nonprofit sector as a whole, what are you most proud of to be working in it?
So obviously the last 18 months during the pandemic have taken a toll on everyone, on all of us as individuals, our organizations as a whole. And so I'm just really proud of our resilience and our ability to continue to be there for the people that need us. And, that's the reason why we exist, because that need exists. And I think that we're starting to get to the point where we can stop and look around and say, we made it through these last 2 months that were really difficult for everyone. Even the organizations that survive off of those fundraising events that are in person, just seeing how we've evolved and seeing the resilience and just how we just keep moving forward is definitely one of the things that I'm the most proud of.
Wow, that's incredible. Do you have a day or a moment that sticks out to you that you feel the most proudest of your work at Unbound?
Probably that moment when I lived through the trip, that moment where I had the realization that I, didn't want to be a forensic analyst because that's what I was going to school for at that time. Totally different, right? But honestly, I'm so proud of the work that we do every day. And I work with the best team of ladies. And, the fact that we're working together, towards the same mission and goal. Every day I'm really proud of the work that we do.
That's awesome. The other side of the coin,
yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you're facing currently? I know that COVID is obviously a huge one, not being able to travel internationally, I'm sure has put a burden on the organization. Is there anything specific hurdle-wise that you guys are trying to get over?
Well, as an organization, obviously the pandemic has been a huge threat to the families that we support. A lot of the families in our program, they're losing years of hard-earned progress towards against poverty. And so families are facing more food insecurity than they have in the past. The kids in our program who have made so much progress towards their education, they're now watching that be taken away from them slowly because everything's virtual. And do they have internet access? Do they have those devices that they need? So as an organization, there's definitely been a lot of challenges in result of the pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. And, I think that can speak to a larger picture of social services around the world right now and how demand is going up, but funding for that is either stagnant or going down. I'm sure you guys talk about this all the time. So would you have any advice for a new nonprofit professional, let's say a new college grad looking to enter the industry? Something that you wish you knew 11 years ago?
So there's actually two things. The first thing would be learn to leverage your professional development opportunities early on. Are there internal and external resources at your organization that you can have access to? They might have educational allowance. They might have a tuition reimbursement program. A lot of those things you kind of have to do your own research to find out. Second fold, I would have to say, realize that the importance of networking. Getting to know your colleagues in the sector is so important, and that networking tool is vital to that. I became involved with connexxt about 5 years ago, and I started participating in networking events. We continue to have them even if they are virtual. And now I'm serving my third year on the board this year. So those two things are definitely things that I wish I would have caught on to early on.
Well, while I've got you here, what is connexxt, if you had to summarize it a little bit?
So we actually provide a vast majority of resources for young professionals in the sector. It could be anything from updating your photograph for LinkedIn. We might have an event to do that. We also have speaking series where we have like lunch and learns. We might bring in a leader from a local nonprofit to speak on their experiences. And we also have the events where they're just happy hours and you get to just mingle and get to know the other people in the community that are doing the same work that you are.
That's awesome. That's a good resource. Okay, so if you could talk to all of Kansas City and tell them one thing, what would your call to action for Kansas City be?
So I would definitely say come join our movement, sponsor someone in our program. We have over 40,000 people on our waiting list. Many who have been waiting years for support from one person. And, it's $40 a month and you can really give someone access to healthcare and nutrition and educational resources. But also it's something as a sponsor, not speaking as an employee, I've gained so much, building a relationship with someone across the world and having had the chance to meet them in person and exchange letters is something that feeds me in a way that emotionally and spiritually that nothing else has ever. So, I would definitely say join our movement because there's just so much to gain from it.
Well, that is incredible. The work you are doing at Unbound and the organization as a whole, truly a gem in Kansas City and one that definitely more people need to know about and obviously sponsor about. Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy Friday to come and chat with us. It was a pleasure to have you on this month's coffee break and to learn a little more about you in Unbound.
Thank you for having me, and the pleasure is all mine.
And to all of our members, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time, and please remember that together we are better. Cheers.